Hey everyone, I thought I'd jump on here for a very quick video just to recap some of the things I've been talking about with some of my performers this week. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Dr. Phil Clark. I'm a sport and performance psychologist, and I help performers from all types of contexts be the best version of themselves that they can be. Now, one of the lessons that we were talking a lot about this week was around the importance of intentionality. Okay, and what I mean by that being is to be intentional with what we're trying to do when we go into that performance context, whether that's training, whether it's a low pressure environment or a high pressure environment. Now, I want to talk about the setup and almost like the warm down or the where you're coming off a high pressure, high performance environment or even a training environment. So it's almost like the step up and the step off. So one of the key things with the step up we talk about is debrief. So oftentimes we find ourselves in either a training session or maybe it's a low pressure competition that there's no real intensity or no real pressure to it. We find ourselves running through the motions. Now, what can be really, really helpful is having a brief. So what am I intending to get from this training session? So you might have heard the saying, it's about being the hardest worker in the room. The reality now is everyone works really hard. What we want to do is be the smartest worker in the room who also works hard. If we can capture that nice balance, then we know that every session we're getting something that's going to almost elevate us as we progress towards our goals. So one thing to think about with the brief is, what am I aiming to get from it? So that might be something technical, it might be something mental, but it's really allowing me to tap into what is success in this session and how do I want to show up for it. So you know you're not going to go through the motions. It's giving you something concrete and targeted for you to focus on. So that's the step up, the brief. Now I'll go into that in more detail in later videos. The second part is that step off, okay, or step down, whichever way you want to think about it. This is about the debrief. So how do we debrief after a training session? Now this might be something that will vary as from straight away after a training session or after a competition, or you might be someone who's like, actually, I'm quite emotional after that. Now is probably not the most accurate time to do it. I might pick it up a little bit later when my emotions have died down a little bit. But the debrief, how am I taking that learning? How am I taking the learning from that experience so I'm able to apply it moving forward? Now, oftentimes, performers, after good performances, we move on very quickly. So we don't necessarily pull out the learning from it. Or after bad performances or ones we're not overly happy about, what we tend to do is go, oh, I don't like that. I don't want to reflect back on it. So being consistent with how you debrief as well as how you brief can be a really powerful way for you to take learning, put it into action in the next session with that brief. So it's a constant feedback loop. It's giving you that opportunity of developing, trial and error, developing trust in the mental skills you're applying, developing trust in the technical skills, your physical skills, because every brief and every debrief is giving you an opportunity to validate the effort, the skill, whatever that might be. So you have this bank of evidence, and we know from confidence, previous experience is the biggest source when it comes to confidence. So this is a great way of you building up that bank. Yes, I know I'm good at this. I know I've got strength and I can trust this skill, whether that's physical, technical, tactical, psychological, because I've got this bank of evidence in my training in the build up to it, in my competitions in the build up to it. But that only comes when we take the time to take that learning, take the time to put that into practice and do it with real intention. If you found that useful, comment below how you potentially use a brief or debrief, or just any questions that you'd like me to answer in future videos.